ഒരു ജാതി, ഒരു മതം, ഒരു ദൈവം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ശ്രീ നാരായണ ഗുരുവും നിന്റെ ശത്രുക്കളെ നിന്നെപ്പോലെ സ്നേഹിക്കുവാൻ പറഞ്ഞ യേശുക്രിസ്തുവിൻ്റെ വചനവും രക്ഷ അല്ലാഹുവിൽ കൂടി മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ നബിയുടെ വചനങ്ങളും ഇത് കണ്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന മാന്യപ്രേക്ഷകരെ, നിങ്ങൾ ഇന്ത്യയുടെ ദിശ, ഇന്ത്യയുടെ രാഷ്ട്രീയ ഭാവി എങ്ങനെയാണ് നിങ്ങളാണ് തീരുമാനിക്കേണ്ടത്. ഗൗതം ബുദ്ധൻ ഇങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞു, തെറ്റുകൾ വന്നു പോകുന്നതിൽ കുറ്റമായി കാണുന്നില്ല, എങ്കിലും ആ തെറ്റായും കുറ്റമായും മാറുന്നത് അത് വീണ്ടും ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴാണ് എന്ന് ഗൗതം ബുദ്ധന്റെ വാക്കുകളെ ഓർമ്മിപ്പിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ രാഷ്ട്രീയ ചർച്ച ഇവിടെ തുടങ്ങുകയാണ്. രാഷ്ട്രീയ സാംസ്കാരിക രംഗങ്ങളിൽ മിന്നിത്തിളങ്ങുന്ന അനേക വ്യക്തികൾ നമ്മുടെ മധ്യത്തിലുണ്ട്. ഇന്നത്തെ മോഡറേറ്ററായിട്ട് ഇതിന്റെ പ്രൊഡ്യൂസർ ഡയറക്ടർ ശ്രീ കോശി ഉമ്മനെ വളരെ ഹൃദയപൂർവ്വ സ്നേഹത്തോടെ ഞാൻ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഞാൻ ഷാജി എന്ന സീരിയൽ AONE TV ന്യൂയോർക്ക്. താങ്ക് യു.
My name is Koshi Umman. I welcome you all for this very important discussion. We are here at the land of opportunity. With all the opportunity we are enjoying, we want to bring our attention to the land of peace, land of ahimsa, now land of progress, land of peace. So India has a lot of credentials and credibilities, and Indians worldwide have established their ability in bringing peace, harmony, progress, achievements. World record has shown, and we have evidence in counting those achievements. So keeping all those good memories and good thoughts in mind, we want to convey our message comparing the world, how the world is progressing and how India can progress even in election, even in polling, even in guiding people towards the polling and to the voting. To discuss that, to discuss who should Indians vote for. Is it for BJP, or is it for Congress, or is it for any regional parties? We have eminent personalities from Bharatiya Janata Party and Indian National Congress. These personalities here have spent a lot of time. Right from the day one, they might have been landed here. I know most of them personally. With all your applause, I welcome each and every one of them to this podium. First, we have our current General Secretary for Overseas BJP Friends of Overseas, or BJP.
I am a founder of Overseas Friends.
Right. And he is with his friends too. So I'm not going to do the introduction. They will introduce themselves. So I'm going to pass on the mic and let them say a few words about them for our benefit to know them more.
Namaskar. My name is Jagdish Sevani, and I am one of the founder of Overseas Friends of BJP, and I am part of Sangh Parivar here. I am communication director of Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh. Namaskar.
Hello viewers, my name is Vibhuti Jha. I am a banker by profession. I came in 1991 to this country to market and promote India investments under the India Liberalization Program. I still do that.
Good evening to all our viewers. I'm Dr. Bhavani Srinivasan. I'm a pediatrician, public health and acupuncture practitioner. I'm on the board of trustees for National API. I'm past president of API of Queens and Long Island, and past president of India Association of Long Island, as well as past president of Suffolk Pediatric Society in Long Island. And I've been in Long Island for about 40 years now. So this is a very nice program that we are going to be taking part in. Thank you.
I'm George Abraham. I'm a former Chief Technology Officer of the United Nations. I'm also a founding General Secretary of the Indian Overseas Congress in USA.
Shodh Prakash Singh, CEO of J Group of Companies and Chairman of Indian American Economic Development Council of Nassau County.
Vineet Nagpal, businessman, importer of textiles and apparel, a treasurer of INOC, and a supporter of Congress. Thank you.
The prime discussion here is going to be about the parliamentary election, which is going to happen from middle of this month and following to next month. So the first question is about two major parties, because they are the leading parties for the alliances what they have there. So why should they vote for BJP and why should they vote for Congress? The first question goes to the BJP panel here, the leaders from BJP. Why should the current people in India should vote for BJP?
The choice is very clear in last 5 years. The Indian voters has to decide what we have achieved in last 60 months and what Congress achieved in last 60 years. The choice is very clear, whether you want dynastic rule or whether you want development. Whether you want only promises or performance. Whether you want Majboor Sarkar or Majboot Sarkar. Whether you want a decisive leader or you want, there is no leader perhaps of the Mahagathbandhan or Gathbandhan. So the choice is very clear. What Modi ji has done in last 5 years, Congress didn't do in last 50 years. Whether we see the electrification of all the villages, the Congress promised, we delivered. Just imagine 19,000 villages in last 5 years. 80 millions of toilets were built in last 5 years. 14 crore children were given tikas. Look at the way roads, infrastructure. 70 million ladies got gas cylinder, which they didn't get in last 50 years. So I am sure the Indian voter is very smart, intelligent, and the last thing is terrorism. Who can deal with the national security? Do you think a Congress can do it? Absolutely no. Look at what happened when attack on 26/11 happened. There was a mute response from Manmohan Singh ji. बातें करेंगे, कुछ करेंगे, देखा जाएगा, चलता रहेगा. And look at what Narendra Modi did. You need remember surgical strike. And second thing is, before the terrorists could attack here, we will come there in Pakistan and we will take care of you. This is what the leadership is all about. I have full faith in Indian voters, and especially more than 10 million new voters. I am sure they will do justice. And what 5 years we have laid the foundation of a new India. हमने foundation बनाया है, and next 5 years उसके ऊपर we'll build a भव्य इमारत. And so India is in safe hands, and I'm proud that I'm confident also that Indian voter will take a necessary step and vote for BJP.
So you are comparing and saying whatever achieved in 60 years is achieved by BJP in 6 years? Is that you are claiming?
Less than 6 years, 5 years.
So you are saying that all these things, whatever said in the manifesto of 2014, all of them are achieved? Can you challenge that?
I wouldn't say that achieved, but most of the things are like I very clearly say. the foundation has been laid. What has happened that in 50 years, it was a government of scams and non-performance. And what Modi has done with the dynamic leadership, because he has only one thing in his mind: how best I can do and what best I can do for India. And that is what he has been doing tirelessly.
Thank you. Let me ask that same question to Mr. George Abraham,
Sure.
who is the Vice Chairman of IOC USA, and let's see whether whatever you said is correct or wrong.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you. But I do have to respond to what Congress has done in the last 60 years. 60 years ago, or as a matter of 70 years ago, when India won its independence, look in what condition India was. We had 12% literacy. I understand that there are 30 telephones, they all belong to the Maharajas. There are 20 villages where they had electricity. There was no dams, very few bridges, very few infrastructure. There are no IITs, there are no IIMs, there is no National Science Foundation, there is no space program. There was nothing there. It was an India which was left almost plundered by colonialists, which really needed rebuilding. That's what Nehru and Ambedkar and the Congress leadership have done. They not only brought modern India to the modern age, but also they have built institutions. They have built the judiciary. They have built the legislature. They have created the election commission. They have created the law enforcement mechanism. They have created strong foundations which really sustained our democracy. And
So
when anybody says that what Congress has done in the 60 years, I think they are not truly looking at the history, but relying on the regular propaganda by BJP.
But let me interrupt to Mr. George Abraham. You claim that in all these years, everything was done by Congress. But in general public, in general view, they said whatever left over by British was continued by Congress. That's the same thing part of BJP also claiming. But how do you counter that, and how do you deny or make into a positive that yes, it was or it is an achievement of Congress?
Look, if I look at my own state, Kerala, I can tell you how many education institutions we had. We had the only privileged upper caste people were educated or had the privilege to go to school, and all the other infrastructure and related bureaucracy, everything was really in shambles. What Congress has really done over the years is a prime example of what a government would do for development. And they have brought India to the modern age. Look at the telecommunication infrastructure. Today we claim that India is an IT superpower. How did it become an IT superpower? Because we built the telecommunication infrastructure. Mr. Petroda, for example, who was here, was brought into India by Rajiv Gandhi and built that telecommunication infrastructure, which made it possible for the IT professionals today to sit there and maintain multinationals systems here. So what you see is definitely a great achievement under the leadership of Congress Party. Look at the Green Revolution. At one point in time, we had a program called PL 480, and we were really, almost begging for food.
Now,
we brought about the Green Revolution, which really made India self-sufficient. See, there are a number of accomplishments I could go on, but let's not really focus on that debate now, but rather whether Modi's government in the last 5 years, what they have done. Everybody is asking what Congress has done in 60 years, but what Modi has done
I need a clarification here. During your statement, you mentioned, look what I have been achieved in Kerala. But here, the discussion is nationwide. I know you mentioned about the telecommunication, and a couple of other programs which have been achieved. But can you go in detail and say, nationwide, Congress have done such and such things?
Look, in the last, during the administration of the UPA 1 and UPA 2, Congress brought about 10% of the people from poverty to the middle class, okay? They brought them up. And increasingly, under the Congress government, the economy was growing 8 to 9%, close to 9%. But what really happened now? It really, the growth has suffered under the BJP regime. So, you want me to tell you the accomplishment? These are all the accomplishments. The modern India you look at today did not happen in last 5 years, number one. Many of the projects Modi is inaugurating today, whether it is launching a submarine, whether it is launching a ship, or dealing anything with the space. Even the other day, for example, there was a destruction of the satellite, for example.
Okay.
This did not happen in the last 5 years.
Let's come to those points a little later. Thank you, Mr. George Abraham. Now, since BJP's manifesto of 2014 has been discussed, and since BJP is saying that we're going to have the manifesto announced very soon, but we already have some manifesto announced from Congress, and we would like to know and hear a little more about this manifesto from Mr. Shud Prakash, who was the national president for IOC, and now he is in different various capacities. So let me hear from you, Mr. Shud Prakash. What do you think about this manifesto? Is this really going to be accomplished, or is this just a paper offer?
The history shows that Congress just doesn't make manifestos just for the elections. They research, they analyze, they have a panel of experts, and only publish what is achievable. And Sonia Gandhi ji, if you remember, 10 years ago, in the second UPA term, said that for us the manifesto is like a holy book. We should be writing, she instructed to the panel that we should be writing a manifesto which is deliverable, which is attainable. So manifesto, whatever is released and whatever says, I'm sure, I have full confidence in the leadership that it will be delivered.
Thank you, Mr. Shud Prakash. Now, let's discuss a little more important subject, because the king makes the decision, and any country looks at the king or queen of that country. So keeping that in mind, the election is about making or electing the king or the queen. In our country, we are talking about who will be our next king. Is that going to be Mr. Narendra Modi or Mr. Rahul Gandhi? I would request BJP spokesperson to say a few words about that.
Thank you very much. I thought I would never get the mic.
No, we have the bell.
Thank you very much. It's really very nice.
Now your turn is over.
Well done. But my turn has just begun. The debate here is not about what the Congress did in the last 60 years. The debate is why the exact question Mr. Koshi asked, why in 2019 must the people of India vote for BJP or Mr. Narendra Modi as the future Prime Minister, next Prime Minister of the country. So the question is not about what he did in 5 years and what Congress has done in 60. That's a record which is already in print, and I can read out to you where they have failed and where Modi has succeeded. But think about it sitting here in New York. What exactly Modi achieved? The mandate on Congress party's performance was already given in 2014. So that need not be even a matter of a discussion here. The people of India elected Mr. Modi, giving BJP a thumping majority beyond its NDA's mandate. Plus NDA, it is a huge victory. So people of India definitely rejected whatever Congress had done. And think about it like this. What has Mr. Modi done? he has, for us NRIs, which is very relevant, he has removed the dishonorable badge of corruption that we Indians used to wear. And I know this on a first-hand basis because when I came here in '91, I was the head for American Express Bank to promote liberalization here. It is at that time when you begin to realize that how much corruption was hurting India and who was responsible for that. The question that people must ask and answer to themselves, every individual voter must answer. Do we want to have that corruption tag back again?
So do you mean to say there is no corruption in India at all now?
I never said that. I said that in the current ministry of 5 years, there is not a single BJP minister at the center who has been accused of collusion. Now, don't interrupt. I did not interrupt you. So be civil. Let's debate, but be civil. Kindly. Thank you very much. The second element is that what did he do in terms of creating the image of India? That is, every single NRI is today proud of being an Indian. And it was difficult to digest this factor. Doing business in India was so tough. I know that on a first-hand basis. I do not know what you did in 1991, but I was carrying joint ventures from here to there. Bureaucrats, politicians used to ask for 3%, 4%, 5% bribe as upfront cost of doing business. I have talked with bureaucrats and politicians. Do you even have a concept of cost of money? You are all businessmen here, senior executives. The cost of money is very important, and that leads me to the manifesto, which is again full of false promises. Sonia Gandhi ji said, this is the Bible, this is the book that we have to be praying to. But 72,000 rupees giving for free, there is a major devastating effect it has on people. Why would people work there?
Let me interrupt you for a second here. Let me interrupt you. Hold on one second. No, because this is very important.
Okay.
I know you are saying about Modi has uplifted the face of India with all the business and business people and all those things. But this is actually, people say, the majority of the people I hear saying that majority of the people are crying. Certain business people or an area of a group of business people, they are making the business and they are getting all the benefit. But
that's a very good question.
What is average and below average people feeling now?
I will come to that right away. I will come to that right away. All of us have dealt with the weight loss problem, right? And I will relate India's corruption to the challenge of obesity that India faced in terms of corruption. How many of us have tried to lose weight? How tough it is. You can't lose weight by only reducing diet or just running around and eating gulab jamun on one hand and then running for 5 miles. This requires discipline, hitting from all sides to lose weight, right? Corruption in India had become that kind of a problem. Therefore, GST, which was a global requirement on India's side, taxation was very vexing. Demonetization was required even as a small step to cause inconvenience, because you know now how Nirav Modi is running, Malaya is saying, these were all heroes of Congress era. The bank NPA performances, I am personally aware and have been directly participated in. The bank NPA was 50% of the bank NPAs is government induced. Ask more questions. We may not have enough time to talk about all of it here, but when you deal with this something on a first-hand basis, you do get angry. And at that time, this was one party that was running the country, and that was Congress.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, when you say about BJP's all the resolutions or revolutions or changes they did in GST and CST and all those things, but the average and below people are the one crying. If you see, I don't see any, or people don't see anybody above average have any problem. They are very comfortably moving on with their own projects. How do you differentiate and how do you justify that?
No, sir, actually that's not true. The people on the higher level are right now running scared. Anil Ambani, brother, rescued him from non-tax paying. Nirav Modi is sitting in London, escaping away and sitting in jail. Vijay Mallya is on the verge of bankruptcy because what they did. I personally wrote to Vijay Mallya when he was running Kingfisher Airlines that the way you are running it, it will cause you a problem, you better sell and get out of that. But his ego did not let him do that. The point of the matter is, you asked a very pertinent question.
Yes.
And I'm very happy to say that this is, when India attained independence, it required sacrifice of everyone. ordinary people lost lives. If we had chosen at that time, oh, independence is very tough battle, you know, let the British rule, let's enjoy, we would never have been independent. So therefore, when you are fighting corruption, you have to fight GST, you have to fight, and the ordinary people will also have to be part of that process. I was in India exactly when demonetization happened. I went from bank to bank to see how are the people reacting. There was inconvenience borne by people. I did not get rupees, survived because use the credit cards to get past the situation. But the important part is here. Yes.
Mr. Vinit, do you agree with the statement what he said now?
Absolutely not.
And can you counter on that?
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be speaking here. You've spoken very well, but I completely disagree with everything that you have said.
I knew it, you will disagree, and
Yes.
thank you for spending the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. First of all, the common refrain, you know, by BJP and its leaders and the spokespersons that we have here is that, oh, what has the Congress done in the last 65 years? And look at what the BJP has done in the last 60 months, you know. It's a common refrain. I've heard it time and over again, and I think it is quite laughable, with due apologies. What has the Congress done in the last 60 years is something, if you question that, you're not only insulting Congress, let that alone be, you know, but you're also insulting 130 crore Indians when you say what have you done in the last 130 years. So when Modi has come to power, there were certain challenges that were faced by the country. One was Doklam, when China was, including into the Indian space, into Indian lands. And we deployed BrahMos missiles. Was that suddenly developed only within the last 5 years? We countered Pakistan against the Pulwama attack, and we sent in our Air Force. Was that suddenly created in the last 5 years? The fantastic military, the Air Force, and our, the nuclear submarine was deployed against Pakistan. Our maritime assets were deployed against Pakistan. Was that in the last 5 years?
Before going into the other highlights or the things we have to discuss, let me come back to the CST and GST, which became a major problem. Demonetization and GST was felt directly by people. And those two items, if the Congress government come back, will they revoke it? And what changes in that particular area will you or your government will do to neutralize?
Thank you.
Well, the demonetization was a colossal mistake, okay, by the Modi government, which brought incredible suffering to the people. At least 140 people died, okay, waiting in line, okay. And they really created, as a matter of the economy, the growth shrunk by 2%. And millions of jobs were lost. Farmers produce, they were all wasted. And small business people, without cash flow, they suffered. Many of the businesses closed down. So the enormous difficulty demonetization brought is really did not bring any positive results. After all, 99% of the currency is supposed to be out in circulation came back anyway. As far as the GST is concerned, look at GST. GST was really a UPA proposal. You know what Narendra Modi said when UPA presented it? It is a Gujarat sabotage tax.
No, we all know this. We don't have much time to discuss in detail about this.
Yeah,
now the question here is, will you revoke this?
No, GST,
how will you neutralize this?
Look, GST was a Congress initiative, which finally BJP embraced. But let me complete it. BJP embraced, and we're not going to revoke it. The point is that what we are talking here is that there's a messy implementation which created undue suffering to people. Look at it, even agricultural equipment today is really taxed. Congress argued that it should be 18% maximum.
Okay, he claims it was started initiated by Congress. Can you answer that?
Yeah, of course. Any of us can answer.
Yes, that is what I said in the before, that Congress only promises, but BJP delivers. Congress was saying that we'll do GST, we will do, but Modi government came and they delivered. Congress was saying that we'll give you electricity, and Modi government delivered. All in the past, what they've given in 4 generations of Gandhis, only promises, promises, promises of garibi hatao, hum ye karenge, wo karenge. But here is a real person in India, Prime Minister Modi, who has delivered it in last 60 months.
Let me interrupt you there.
Sure.
But overall, if you look at the financial records,
Yeah.
the GDP, the growth rate
Right.
is much lower, and we are having financial trouble. The debt before is tripled now. That's the financial market claim. Let Mr. Shubprakash ask you one question about that, and then either of you can answer.
That's I find a very it's a big joke when you say that Congress just promises and Modi delivers. I think the biggest disappointment of citizens of India, including myself, I must tell you, and I'm openly admitting it, when Mr. Modi came to power last time, I would have been happier if our party came to power, but I was happy that India has a stable government. He got the mandate, massive mandate, the biggest victory. So I thought he will deliver, do some, wonders. It's so unfortunate, and I feel pity for my fellow citizens. I feel so bad that he had the opportunity and did not deliver on his promises. It's amazing that you said Congress didn't do in 60 years. I think he didn't do anything he promised in 5 years. And that's the reason, if you look at, when you go home, watch it carefully again. Whenever you listen to Mr. Modi, speeches in the rallies, he no more talks about issues. He doesn't talk about his promises he made. He doesn't talk about anything other than just the drama of dividing Hindus and Muslims. What can be more shameful than a Prime Minister of India saying that his opponent, main leader, is going to Kerala because there's more Muslims there? I mean, it's the lowest level any Prime Minister can do. And the promises that delivered, let me remind you some of them to the audience. Ram Mandir banayenge, no bana. 370 hataenge, no bana. This was all the ye sari chale.
Okay, we got let him answer for 30 seconds.
Yeah, this was all just let me finish. Just give me when I'm speaking first time. This was all to just provoke Hindu votes. And then they say, oh, 15 lakh will be in everybody's pocket. Then they say, oh, it was a jumla. Then they said, okay, like you said, Congress, my good friend here said, there was a financial visit, that there was so much corruption. If there was so much corruption, why they haven't been able to put anybody in jail, which they were claiming that, 2,000 crore, this, to that. Even the Mr. Hazare, Anna Hazare, who was the champion of anti-corruption, he has openly declared that this is even more corrupt government than before, because they have, he did the same thing in Gujarat, and he's done the same thing in the center. They've taken away powers of all this local ayok.
We got the point. Let them
I just wanted to say a few things here, and that is, I don't even know why we are having this discussion, because Congress is not even a majority opposition party. They got 40 seats at the last election, and they were nowhere. Now, it's 19 parties, ganging up against Mr. Modi, and that tells you something. He must be doing something right.
Division is what he's doing.
And yeah, Congress party was concentrating. You're talking about religious sects and the religious aspects. Congress was dividing the nation. Why? They were driving them along vote banks. Okay, we'll give you this and we'll give you that. And they were dividing the country along not secular lines, but along religious lines. That is something that Mr. Modi has brought people together on.
Okay, one point I'm picking up from what you said, Dr. Bhavani. If everybody opposing Modi, there must be some reason. And if everybody opposing are afraid of Modi, that may be another reason. So out of these two reasons, which one you say is the real reason?
The real reason is just the fear of getting back into the oblivion. But that is where the challenge for the opposition is. What is this Mahagathbandhan? They do pre-poll promises. You heard Shuddhaji talk about total baloney attacks on Mr. Modi. Totally baloney. Mr. Modi has not once said anything on religious lines or abusing one or the other. Never. On the contrary, Congress has played the vote bank politics. On my television program just 2 weeks ago, I had a Muslim Congress guy who resigned and quit the Congress party for one reason. You know why? He said Congress party has abused and exploited the Muslims in India, and that's why I quit the party. You know the reason why? Because for last 60 years, Muslims have been complaining that we haven't progressed enough. Shashi Tharoor was on one of the television programs. He said we want to give them concessions. And he was asked this question, 60 saal, 60 years you ran the government, and if they are still poor, why are you blaming BJP for that? What kind of a ridiculous argument?
Okay, we don't
just
have
one point. Just one point. In this promise also, 72,000 per month. This is another fake program of the Congress party because it will increase the deficit by 2% straight away. Think about it. Where is that money going to come from? These people have no clue of running economy. They have no clue. They are corrupt to the extent that they will decide who will get that 72,000 rupees. And not only that, what is that cost of money? Who will be decided? Talk about implementation. Congress has no record of implementation. And that's why this is not only a jumla, but it's a bloody fake.
This is, okay, we need more time to discuss this now. Let me actually pick up.
May I just say one point?
Let me pick up from what he said, you know, from financial market and financial achievements, from GST, we came across this discussion here onto the religion, the religious way of dividing and or upholding the religion, and that says that there is peace and harmony in India on the religious level. Can I question this to know the fact and what is Congress observation and what's their opinion on the religious situation right now?
Well, first of all, I want to answer about this corruption thing. Okay, Modi government is not corrupt. What is this Rafael scam? 30,000 crores rupees are going up Anil Ambani soon. And HAL, which was building aircraft for the last decades, are taken out. And Anil Ambani is being favored. Is that corruption?
But they already said it's not true.
And the plane, the cost of the plane, let me finish it. The cost of the plane,
That's what it is.
166, okay, that's only one instance of corruption. Look at Yedurappa. BJP is one of the stalwarts in the party. He is the first chief minister ever go to jail for corruption. Even now, they are trying to destabilize the government by offering money. Look at Vaipam, Madhya Pradesh, under Chauhan. One of the, Vaipam was one of the biggest scandals. Not only it was a financial scandal, but about 60 people got killed. Okay, potential witnesses. That's the type of scandal BJP is famous for.
So what is about the corruption?
Let me tell you, I just want to answer a couple more things. One is especially Mr. Vibhudija's assertion that the non-performing assets, okay? The non-performing assets when BJP government came to power was 2.8 lakh crore. Today it is 12 lakh crore. How that happened in 5 years? It is because of crony capitalism. Because who is benefiting under BJP? The Ambanis and the Adanis, okay? And these are the ones, okay, who are benefiting. Okay, yeah, you may be right. He has implemented a Gujarat model, maybe in all India basis. Today, the banks are, it is a public money. The banks are short of funds because of their policies. And now talking about, the corruption. Corruption not only leads to, of course, affecting the country and the productivity and all that, but more than that, look at the distress of the farmers. Where the money is supposed to be spent on the benefit of one of the biggest sectors which support our economy, instead is being directed to this crony capital.
Okay, we got that. Now, in the financial market, we are going into the religious harmony. What is going on there? Because the corruption thing is, at the end of the day, everybody's going to say, oh, this is not proved, so we are off. We have seen this for decades, and I know the general public know about that. So as long as it's not proved, in the court of law, nothing could be done about that. That neutralizes everything. So let's not go into or continue into that particular point, but the issue made now here is the religious harmony. What do you think about the religious harmony or the problems happening in India now?
I tell you, there's never been a time before as we are divided in India as it is now. And thanks to Mr. Modi and BJP's propaganda of Hindutva and Hinduism. I tell you, as belonging to a Hindu-Sikh family, I feel ashamed when people, my fellow Americans here, question that what is happening in this mob lynching. Is this a civilized nation? India had always a reputation of the most peaceful country, most secular country. Now it's turned into a havoc. It's the question I want to ask audience and the voters is that do you want India to be like United States, Germany, or Western Europe, where people like to go, have right to worship, go for higher education, go for tourism, or you want to be religion country just like Pakistan or Saudi Arabia where nobody wants to go. The question is that would India remain India if Modi comes again? That's the very soul of India is in danger, where we were all raised, grown up, and be proud of secularism. When you see a Sikh president, when you see a Christian head of the party, when you see a Muslim president, when you see a Hindu prime minister, there was a pure secularism. India is an example, just like the United States is. Why would you like American Christian majority here coming after us, we the minorities here? You know, coming to the home beating. That's what is happening in India.
What you are saying.
Such a shame. And I must say to Bhuti ji that do your homework before coming to debate. Before calling me the baloney talk, just read the news that Mr. Modi himself said on the stage, on the rally, that Rahul Gandhi is going to Kerala because there's a minorities and majority there, the Muslim majority.
But it is a factual thing, and it is the most unfortunate thing happened today in India, in Kerala, when Rahul filed his nomination. There were Pakistani flags all over. Shame to them, literally shame to them. Indian voters have to decide. No, one second. Let me finish it, then you come.
Now, just for your knowledge, that's not Pakistan, that's UDP, Indian political party's flag. That's how BJP spread this fake news. That's the most dangerous thing you guys are doing. It's not a Pakistan flag. You are so ignorant. I'm sorry.
No. Isn't it a fact that Rahul Gandhi went to Kerala because he's afraid of losing his Amethi seat? I mean, that's debatable. Anyway, who gave this saffron terrorism to India? Only Congress. Hindu by nature cannot be a terrorist. What are we talking about? Saffron terrorism, it has never happened. Look at past 5 years. If you compare the number of riots happened in past 10 years and past 5 years, you will know. So I would appreciate if you do your homework.
I did not say what Shudha said was baloney. I'm saying the Congress party baloney. Now here is the important part.
Hold on one second. I mean, we are running out of time. One of the viewers asked a very valid question. This terrorism, will always pop up right before the election, and we have seen this in decades. Whenever there is an election, even in state or in nationwide, we always see something terrorist happening. So how do you defend that is wrong, or how do you say yes, that is somebody's practice, somebody is behind that? How do you
what your question is that why the terrorist events happen just before election?
Right before the election, yes.
I'll come to that. But here is Mr. Sudhiji said that he's ashamed as a Hindu Sikh to be living under Modi rule. I am actually ashamed that how can anybody who says he's a Sikh votes for Congress party that was responsible for 3,000 people being killed in 1984 riots. I am saying that isn't that really a sad thing? How can Muslims who have been totally exploited by Congress party go back to vote for Congress party? I think Jagdish ji said very correctly that Hindus have never attacked anybody to expand their territory, nor have they taken the flag of a religion on any other country to become that part of the world. This is the sad part of the Congress party. So when you vote this time, the people of India, think about it this way: who is doing good for you? Congress party, 72,000 rupees will not make you progress. It will make you forever under poverty. That's what you have to remember.
I'm getting one more text about the same, the subject we discussed, is that doesn't matter I'm Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, or Parsi, or anything, general public, most of the general public go with the issue. So I think all these votes or going as a flock is based on the issue, and that's what a group of people claiming. How do you say anything positive or negative on this from the issue-based politics?
This is exactly I want to talk about. There's no doubt Hindus are by nature, by religion, and like other religions, they are peace-loving people, and we respect that. And this is why it hurts me the most that the Hindus are being misled. Actually, Mr. Modi and party are doing damage to Hinduism. They are not promoting Hinduism. And Hindus are being misled into this, that they are the Hindu leaders. They're actually damaging. Even Mr. Obama, while visiting as state guest, had to comment about that. And this is unfortunate. We should promote Hinduism in a positive way, which it should be. And coming back to the religion, you're so right, we should be talking about issues. But look at the rallies and look at all the BJP leaders are doing. 90% of their talk is on religion divide. Or they're playing Hindu card, they're playing Sena card. They don't talk about issues, they don't talk about their achievements. Not even once you will hear their achievements because there aren't any.
But isn't national security important?
Okay. Our discussion here is to promote peace and harmony. So let's not bring the political subject into the current issue and bring this into the polarist mind. So now one main issue and one question came up here is we are talking about politics in India. Now, we are NRIs living abroad out of India. We may not be directly getting benefit of India, so we should not worry too much about India and Indian politics and all those things. But what are we getting from these Indian politicians who come or who govern India time to time as far as NRI, non-resident Indian, or worldwide non-resident Indians? How are they benefited and what are they claimed? This should be answered by Dr. Bhavani.
Well, for starters, I just wanted to say one word about terrorism. In 2008, when Taj Hotel was attacked, and recently there's been a movie about it also, no action was taken at that time. They said that we will do something, we will think, we will talk, and that's where it stayed, and those miscreants are still at large. Whereas now, under Mr. Modi, when the Pulwama attack took place, he immediately took action and he had a surgical strike, and he was able to demonstrate that India will stand for itself, that our sovereignty will be recognized, and if necessary, we will take the fight to the enemy across LOC.
Okay, thank you. We are running out of time. Right now, I want to sum up with, one question. Now, in the past, we have seen so many problems: regulations, finance, religious freedom, job opportunity. Now, the main question now here is, right from the polling, if the new government comes as a Congress government, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, will he wipe off, is it possible for him to wipe off all these problems, and how will they do it? Can you sum up, please?
Well, we truly hope that Rahul Gandhi will provide a very dynamic and a very clean administration. But let me talk about a little bit about this failures of the Modi government. Not only Modi government failed delivering on their promises, okay? let's say talk about the biggest problem India facing
What will Congress do?
Today is the unemployment of the youth. 45 million young people are out of work.
Highest ever.
And
Highest ever.
highest ever, 45-year high. And Modi promised 2 crores jobs a year. And we are creating 450 jobs every day, vis-a-vis 50,000 jobs by Chinese. So we are nowhere. And if you continue that path, you know, there's not a whole lot of future out there. But more than that, what Modi is doing is undermining the institutions which governed us peacefully last 60 years. They are weaponizing CBI, Enforcement Directorate, any of the investigating agency to go after people. There is a sense of fear right now in India. You cannot even criticize the government. If you criticize the government,
George,
you become an anti-national. You become an anti-national.
So the question now here is, will you wipe off all these programs?
I think Rahul Gandhi will definitely stabilize the country and bring normalcy to the country and make people glad. They are part of a democracy, not fascism, because it's very, very important that to know that democracy is not a majoritarian rule. Democracy is a rule where minority concerns are taken into account, make everybody feel that they are equal partner. That is the idea of India. That is the dream of Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru. That dream is being shattered right now. Right now, the electorate in India has a choice to make. That choice is going to determine under Rahul Gandhi whether we really going to have.
It is truly sad. It is truly sad.
Thank you.
These
Thank
people
you.
are living
The same question. The same question to BJP.
Yeah.
Now, if BJP comes back into power, you think you will wipe off all these problems which came across, and how will you do this little or more different than what I've been practiced in the last 4.5 years or 5 years?
India is a country of 1.3 billion people. It's not a country that can be governed easily. But Mr. Modi has shaken the system towards a positive direction. That nobody can deny. But the more important part for the voters of India is that these people are talking about Rahul Gandhi as the Prime Minister. The poor chap is not even admitted into Mahagathbandhan because Mayawati and Akhilesh Yadav don't want Congress in UP. Mamata Banerjee doesn't want Congress in West Bengal. This guy ran to Kerala to fight election because, I don't know the reason why, but you have to think about it. He ran away from the states that he won, from Madhya Pradesh, from Rajasthan, from Chhattisgarh. They just won the election, but he's not going there to fight the election. Do you think why? This is sinister campaign going on there. Rahul Gandhi in the next 7 days will be talking about all balonies. He will be hurling accusation. So open your eyes and vote.
Okay, so the voters definitely know what exactly going on. We have always seen the decisions most of the time coming right. Now, one major issue just came up. One question here is social media. Social media, whoever can pick up a phone and text and send a video and whatever their opinion is, whoever making it, sending it to wherever and creating a lot of problem. It's not just the government, social media people or people involved in that, creating a lot of problems. So, from the viewer's point of view, how can we avoid this social media miscommunication and false propagation? This has to be stopped, and along with this question, I want to ask Congress group to summarize the whole thing. How will it be a little more different than BJP government if Congress comes into power?
Social media, I think nobody has misused and given the fake, false information more than the BJP IT department on social media.
About BJP or Congress, I'm talking about the average people.
The average people are affected by this kind of fake information, just like my friend Mr. Sani here says that in Rahul Gandhi's rally, they were unfurling Pakistan flag. Yeah, it's so funny. You're sitting in front of the Malayali people here who know that who know that they have a party which has been there for ages, Indian Muslim League. It's their flag, and it's very stark different from Pakistani flag, and you will take the opportunity to call it a Pakistani flag, just like your leader, Mr. Modi, again as a prime minister, accusing the most honest, the simplest prime minister of India that during Gujarat elections that he's hobnobbing with Pakistani officials because he had a meeting with Pakistan officials in Delhi.
Okay,
I mean, you are questioning patriotism of a prime minister. That's what Mr. Modi did. And that's exactly this is a misuse.
We got the point. Now, a small correction here. We have people representing from every single state here, not just Kerala. We have Gujarat, Delhi, everybody. Right. So with that, let me request you. We are running out of time. Summarize.
Okay, let me summarize.
You are giving him second chance to speak.
No, this is the summary. Let me tell you, I want to ask the voters. If you, there was a talk about electing a king or queen, we are not in those times anymore. The people who elect our public servants, they have to work for us, for the people, for the public. Before you hire anybody, so voting is like hiring the people who will run the country. So before you hire anybody for your business, for your home, for your work, what is the main thing? What is the number one thing you look at? I bet you your answer would be their character, their honesty, of course, how skillful they are, but that comes secondary. Now I want to bring you to the point of personal character of Mr. Rahul Gandhi and comparison with Mr. Modi. Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a man who declined to the chair of the prime ministership, which he could easily become in the second term UPA won. He was offered, but he said, no, I'm not ready and I'm not hungry for this, I want to work. And he worked behind the scenes for Jammu Kashmir situation. He worked even with the famous Nirbhaya rape case with her family, but never highlighted. He's a man who works quietly, he means good, he's full of humility, and compare that, and he's not an opportunism. So he declined the position of prime minister. But when the party is in shambles, when Congress was at the lowest level, he picked up the lead and he said, now I will come forward and fight. That's the leadership.
So you say that if Rahul Gandhi comes into power, he will wipe off all these problems?
He will deliver whatever he's promising 100%, there's no doubt, because he refuses to lie. He is the most truthful politician in India today. Now, the last thing, let me finish. You will have plenty of time to close. So the last thing I want to tell you about, compare that to the character of Mr. Modi. Starting from Gujarat, how he became chief minister, manipulating, how he was banned to come to the United States, how he was criticized by internationally from all the organizations, his handling, and then his own prime minister, Mr. Vajpayee, criticized him and he was against him.
Okay, so
then Mr. Advani, his guru, came to his rescue, promoted him, kept him, and then when the time came, he killed his own guru to grab the position of prime ministership. The man who he was touching feet, now he ignored him. Not only he became prime minister, they took all the official positions away from him. So compare the character of this man and high character of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who's totally an honest man, who delivers his
Okay, so Congress is claiming that Rahul Gandhi's character is better, so he will speak on to Congress manifesto and give a change in a positive way. Let's see that, but in the meantime, let's hear from BJP also what is their stand and how they are claiming that Modi will be a better candidate and his regime, if elected, will be a better government.
After that, I will just correct what Shruti said. I am from Gujarat, a city called Vadodara. I did my education there. When I was growing up there and when I was a student, every day there was a power shut off. Every day. And literally every year, when there was a Jagannath Yatra, there was a riots. In 2001, when Modi became the Chief Minister of Gujarat, the situation changed. Not even one riot. There is a 24/7 power supply. Forget about power supply, even internet. So let's not even go there. What Modi has done for Gujarat and what he has done.
We are talking national. We are talking
now
national.
coming back to national.
National, yes.
I will give this to
please.
In 5 years we have laid the foundation for new India. It's great foundation. Now in next 5 years you will see a beautiful structure there.
All I want to say was talking about his character. That's why there are so many lawsuits against him as well as Sonia. In fact, they're out on bail now.
The important part here is the final question is, who should people of India vote for?
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
Character, Rahul Gandhi has none of it. You want a people's person to run the country, or you want a family within a party to run the country. And that's a matter of shame, ought to be a matter of shame for Congress party, because even when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister, she was called as the only man in the cabinet. So think about it, it's a party of nobody. These people are official designated workers of Congress party. We are volunteers here. Dr. Bhavani Srinivasan and myself, we are supporting the cause. We support, don't interrupt me please. And the important part is that here is what Mr. Modi has done is to lift. Do you want to go back? Does any Indian want to go back to the rule of Congress? Corrupt, inept, inefficient? That's the question that you have to decide. And it's not about 72,000 rupees per month. That you know will cause enormous burden on the economy. Actually, an economist just said yesterday, it is on YouTube and everywhere else, when he said that this 72,000 rupees will cause enormous burden on the tax raise on the middle class. So beware the Ides of April.
Can you highlight one more time, one quick sentence I'm asking you? Will you say something different than what has happened so far? Something different to say it's going to be better than current administration? Any changes can you highlight?
If Mr. Modi returns to power, you will find...
Not if we are going to
yeah, I'm just saying that if he comes to power, he will streamline the GST. There will be effect of demonetization. Sab videsh bhag rahe hain, all the people who are running away, and these businessmen who were against Modi for GST and other things, they will be the biggest supporter.
Now, I have to answer that. You know, this minimum income program.
Okay, we have only 30 seconds,
minimum
please.
income program, of course, our manifesto is proposing. That's not unrealistic.
Okay, that's
so we are talking about, if you implement that, you're talking about probably 1.1% of the GDP. If we can tax 1%, 0.1%, okay, of the top hierarchy, who earns the highest, that can be met. When the Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Program came in, these people said the same thing. They said the same thing. It cannot be done.
Congress has come up with a manifesto. Why there is a delay of BJP manifesto?
Because we believe in people's choice. We have asked for suggestion from Janta. Public, whatever public wants, we will give it to them. We are awaiting and formulating the response from them. Once we collect it, within the next few days, our manifesto will be ready and you will see to it. It will be people's manifesto, not BJP's manifesto.
72,000 rupees scheme is reviewed, approved by world's most renowned economic Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, who actually made India the economic superpower that is today.
Okay, this fourth generation of lies and promises, we will remove poverty, but they have not done it. So the people of India have to decide whether in last 15 years they just promised but they didn't kept it, and what Modi did, and we will do it.
We are talking of giving money to everybody, 72,000 rupees a year. My question is, if we are giving to crores of people 72,000 rupees a
We are talking
year,
about 5 crores of people, not everybody.
where will the money come from? Who will pay for that? You first make provision, first make a budget, and then spend it. Do not spend it first and then make the budget.
This promise is made by the party that delivered Manrega, which I can quote Mr. Modi saying in Parliament, that's the worst program ever and never would be materialized. And it's been super successful that Mr. Modi now, the BJP government now is building on Manrega. They are loving Manrega so much. At that time they same thing. Now India has that economics power and the funds due to all this huge tax collection and economic liberalization that they can afford. And isn't it, that should not be the question, how would we do it? We must do it for the poorest. It's not for everybody, first of all.
Thank you.
It's the poorest people who don't even have. You want India to be continuing to be the third world country like Uganda or those Yemen where people are dying of hunger. The people who are dying of hunger, it's our civic duty to take care of them. People who are the most poverty.
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have any more time. Not even a minute, so one request from NRIs from America, the election, the polling, the voting, this appeal going to the voters, don't get distracted to social media. Don't get distracted to false promises from any party. Evaluate each and every candidate in your own local area and make a decision based on that particular person. Is he really reliable? Is he really going to listen to your local constituents? That's the way the democracy can develop. We have to work worldwide, Indians. We are united together to promote peace and harmony and for the success, progress of India and Indians nationwide, worldwide. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.